You've got that ideal career in mind. Well, West Georgia Technical College specializes in preparing you for great careers. Call today and find out how we can help you fit education into your busy lifestyle. Semesters are here. West Georgia Technical College is enrolling for its first ever fall semester. There's never been a better time to get started. Choose from over 110 great programs. West Georgia Technical College is inspired by students.
I'm Perrin Alford, the Provost at West Georgia Technical College, and welcome to another edition of Technically Speaking. Welcome to Technically Speaking, a program designed to keep you informed of all the happenings that are going on the LaGrange campus. This morning we have Lori Basham with us. Lori is the Enrollment Center Coordinator at the LaGrange campus. So for those in the viewing area that are watching this show this morning, Lori might be the first person that you encounter if you come on our campus. Lori, welcome to Technically Speaking.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's begin as we do every segment. Lori, I think it's important that the folks who are watching this show know a little bit about Lori and Lori's background, maybe where you went to college, what your major was, and how all this kind of ties into what you are currently doing at West Georgia Technical College.
Okay, sure. I'm originally from South Alabama and went to school at Troy University, received my bachelor's degree there in rehabilitation services, and received a master's degree from Auburn in rehabilitation counseling as well. And so my background, I think, fits well with working in technical education, is that my focus has always been on assisting people with finding jobs and improving their lives. And so I came here. I've been at West Georgia Tech for 13 and a half years.
And we're certainly in the people business. That's really is our job, educating folks. You have a bit of a background in sociology, I believe. Ted, tell us a little bit about your background in that area, and really that ties in perfectly to what you're doing as well at West Georgia Technical College.
Well, I do a lot in vocational rehabilitation. So with that, we have a lot of matching people's skills with what we have to offer, so we can look at people's transferable skills, maybe what they've done in the past, to perhaps see what their fit would be with programs that we have to offer. And you and I have talked about before, I think I was part of technical education and dual enrollment before it even started, in that when I was in high school I took a patient care class, which we offer at the local high schools as well for dual enrollment students, and that served me very well all through college. I thought I was going to be a nurse, however I wasn't a nurse, but how it did help me is all through graduate school I had a good paying job, and also those skills have stayed with me since a long time. So
I guess the point here is that a sociology background, you obviously like to be around folks. You're I think you would be called a people person.
I think so.
So that it's very important that you stay in that type of surrounding, which that's pretty much your job 24/7 at West Georgia Tech.
Correct.
I think it's also very interesting with was it CNA? Was that what it was called when
it was
years ago? Not that many years ago, but a few years ago when you were taking that coursework. It's interesting that, Lori, when we go talk to dual enrollment classes or high school kids, or even young folks who are graduating from high school who are going to community college or four-year college, that you can attend your technical college or community college, which I guess was Lori's example in Alabama, but she learned a skill that enabled her to work the entire time that she attended Auburn University, earn money, help people, and allowed you to have the flexibility to still do all your studies and make good grades. So the technical college fits into people's lives in probably a lot of ways that most folks really don't understand. But if you use your technical college and all the wonderful opportunities that are available at your technical college, it can really impact your life for the better. Well, this morning, let's talk a little bit about admissions in the technical college system of Georgia, and specifically admissions and all the nuances that potential students might need to be aware of if they're thinking about coming to West Georgia Technical College.
Okay, generically, if you're interested in going to West Georgia Technical College, you'll need to apply, and you can come in and apply, which a lot of people like to, so they like to have that personal contact with, someone, but you can also apply online. Either way, you would need to pay a $25 one-time application fee. So if you've been here, say in the early 90s or last year, you would not have to reapply for that. You'll need to submit SAT, ACT scores, or if you don't have those scores, we give the COMPAS exam, which is a placement exam. It's not to say, hey, you can't start school, but it's to say, okay, your reading maybe needs a little help, or your math. That's all that's used for. It's not used to say, no, you can't come to school. Because a lot of times people go, oh, it's been 25 years since I've been in school. And so we understand that nervousness. Is easy for us to say, well, don't worry, because we're not the one taking the test. But there are also some online study guides that you can take to kind of prepare you for that. And the COMPAS test is not timed. In years past, if you came to our school, the test was timed. So you had 32 math questions, you had 25 minutes to do it. Now you can take your time, it's at your own pace, but typically it takes about an hour and a half to take that test.
And now let me jump in. What benefit is there to this not being a timed test, do you think? Why would they not have a timed test?
Anxiety with taking the test, because I can imagine that when you were taking the test before, we would say you have 5 minutes remaining, and people would just get very nervous. And so now you're at your own pace, and so that's helpful. You will have to submit an official copy of your high school transcript or your GED. Those are required for every program except a few welding certificates and the commercial truck driving program. All other programs you must have a high school diploma or GED to attend. And also submit official college transcripts from all colleges attended. And so after we get that information, then we will look at your admission application to see if anything's missing, or see if we can go ahead and accept you for whatever, got to change our wording, semester you're looking at attending, because that's a new word for us.
Okay, let me jump back to testing, because a lot of times students will ask me this as I'm walking down the hallway about this test. A lot of times I think our students get this confused with the SAT, the ACT, or whatever, and those tests that are then sent to a Board of Regents school, be it Columbus State, Valdosta State, University of Georgia. Our test is not really like that test, even though it does assess strengths and weaknesses and what areas you might need some helper classes in. But our test is not like a pass or fail test per se. In other words, I'm sure some of the folks out here watching might have said they want to go to the University of Georgia as an example, and they took the SAT test, and the University of Georgia responded back, hey, sorry, you didn't score high enough or whatever. Talk a little bit about the difference between a technical college, community college, versus that 4-year Board of Regents school.
Technical colleges are considered open door schools, so that we provide opportunities for everyone. In the test, and again, going back to the anxiety, it's a reading, a writing, and a math. And depending upon what major you're wanting to study, if it's a criminal justice or if it is a welding program, each program has different set standards that you have to reach. And so depending upon, you may come in with your best friend and they want something totally different, so their test score requirements will be different. So it's not fair to compare yourself to anyone but yourself. So looking at your strengths and weaknesses, and you're only going to be successful because you don't want to get into a class that you're perhaps not ready for, and then you get frustrated and then you quit. It's much rather have you have success. And so with West Georgia Technical College, our goal is to give you that test, administer that test, let's look at it, and then move on. Let you go on and be successful with that, not to say, I'm sorry, it's too bad, you can't start.
So we've already talked a little bit about this test anxiety thing. Let's say that Mr. Alford comes in and I just do really, really poorly. I just don't test well. What does the student receive? Do they receive a, hey, you're not very smart letter, or we don't want you to come to West Georgia Tech? What happens from that point forward?
After they take a test, then the admission counselors will get their file and they'll look and see what program it is that they're wanting, and they'll look and see, okay, your reading was this score, so you'll need to take this remedial learning support class is what we call it now, learning support class, math learning support class. So they'll receive an evaluation that tells them the classes that they must take. And then they bring that to registration, register.
So really, if I'm hearing you correctly, our test only helps the student. It helps them address what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. Once we identify that, we're going to give them some helper classes to help build that weakness so that when they get into a class, they can be successful. So really, if they're at West Georgia Tech and they're taking a Compass exam, they really shouldn't have that much test anxiety, really. It's not like the SAT or ACT where we're going to say you haven't scored high enough.
Correct.
So that's a huge difference between a community technical college and a 4-year Board of Regents school. Let's say you're in LaGrange, real quickly on this one. Let's say a student has been out of school more than 4 or 5 years. How do they go about getting that high school transcript? And that's very important as far as our admissions process. How do they go about doing that?
Well, if you graduated from a high school in Troup County, then you would contact the Troup County Archives.
Okay, and where's that located?
And that's in the Bank of America building. And they're very helpful and would help you get your transcripts. Even if your school closed, I believe, I'm not from LaGrange, but Hogansville High School, and those schools that closed, you go to the Troup County Archives and they will have your information. My suggestion for people such as I who graduated from a school not in Troup County, then contact your high school or the Board of Education. If you received your GED, then we could give you that information where you contact to get your official transcript from there.
Right, and when I was in the student affairs area years ago, people would call and ask me, how long does it take to get all this admission stuff done? In a perfect world, even if they have to go uptown in LaGrange, up by the new cinema, how long would it take? Could they do this in 3 weeks, 4 weeks? How long would it take a student to do this process?
If they didn't have many college transcripts are going to depend upon the university where they're trying to get their college transcripts from. But just a student who perhaps have never been to another college before, they could perhaps do it all in a day or 2.
Right, yeah, that's what I used to tell students. Really, if you really hustled, if you selected the day you wanted to take the entrance exam, the Compass test.
And it's a walk-in basis, so there's no appointment needed.
Yeah, so you really could almost do everything for our admissions process in one day, really.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. For sure, 1 week's time period, you could easily do that.
You could.
Articulation agreements. We got a few minutes before we're going to take a break here, but Lori, when we come back, I want you to tell us about articulation agreements, why they are important for the college, and what the benefit to the student is, ultimately by us working hard to get these articulation agreements.
Okay.
We'll be right back, going to take a quick pause, and when we come back, we will continue with Lori Basham, who is our admissions counselor on the LaGrange campus.
You've got that ideal career in mind. Well, West Georgia Technical College specializes in preparing you for great careers. Call today and find out how we can help you fit education into your busy lifestyle. Semesters are here. West Georgia Technical College is enrolling for its first ever fall semester. There's never been a better time to get started. Choose from over 110 great programs. West Georgia Technical College is inspired by students.
When you earn your GED diploma, the barriers in your life fall. Take the first step and get free GED information in your area at 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or yourged.org. Earn your GED diploma and begin your brighter future.
We're back with Lori Basham, who is our admissions counselor here on the LaGrange campus. And when we left, we were about to talk about articulation agreements and what they are, why they're important, and some of the schools that we have worked very hard to work all the kinks out or the details out so that we have articulation agreements. So if you would take a few minutes and tell us about articulation agreements.
Okay. Articulation agreements were put into place to help a student with some seamless transition. So for example, you want to start taking classes at West Georgia Technical College. Years ago when we started, it was very much, it wasn't going anywhere else. I mean, that was what it was.
They called it a terminal degree.
A terminal degree.
It pretty much died when you left West Georgia Tech.
It did. And so now we have articulation agreements with colleges such as Troy University, LaGrange Colleges, Evening College, Columbus State University, Kaplan University, Southern Poly. So those are just some of those schools that we have articulation agreements with. And you can find more information about that on the West Georgia Tech website under the registration link.
And I think recently also Mercer University, we've got a lot of articulation agreements with. So a lot of schools out there that we've worked through all the details of getting these agreements in place.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing for students so that they're not, education's never wasting their time with that. And sometimes I would hear that, I'm just wasted my time. No, you haven't. Again, you're like going on a trip. When you start school, you need to know where you're going to end up. And so that you're working your way back. Always think of that, you can get in the car and just start driving, and that's fun sometimes, but when you're paying for it and spending a lot of time and effort, then you want to plan that trip and figure out where it is that you want to end up, and then we can help you try to figure out how to get there.
Okay, now tell us what the benefit is again. Very, very important. Why do we do all this hard work? How does it help the student kind of specifically here? Does it save the student money? Let's go back that way.
Oh, sure. Saves money, saves time, saves maybe frustration. It's just a seamless transition. You hear that a lot in education, but that's the goal, so that if you take an English class at West Georgia Technical College, you're not going to have to retake that class at Troy. Maybe, I know that for Columbus State, there's articulation agreements with the criminal justice program there, and just talk with a student and his dad about all the classes that he's going to be able to take at West Georgia Technical College, and he's been in contact with CSU, and so that those criminal justice classes, he's not going to have to retake those classes. He's already taken those classes. Right. So when he gets there, he's going to be so far ahead of the game, and he sees a reason for him taking those classes, right, so that he can get his end result with his bachelor's degree.
And sadly, in the past, we didn't have these agreements, and our students would leave our college and would go to another school, and again, sadly, the school might not take the English, the math, the world history, or whatever, and that is certainly unfair for our students, and so we are very, very thankful for all of these fine institutions that have worked with us and have worked out these articulation agreements. I can't think of a better win-win scenario than the articulation agreements we've worked out. Again, are some of these listed on the webpage? If a student is leaving LaGrange High, Callaway, Troop, they can look on our webpage and see where we have agreements.
Under the registration link. That's the registrar's information.
Okay. I've read recently in the paper the Board of Regents has passed a rule that certain core classes have to transfer. Tell us a little bit about that.
At the June 7th meeting of the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia, they passed a vote similar to in Alabama, where if you go to a community college in Alabama, certain classes have to transfer. Well, it was great news to all of us in that on June the 7th, the vote was that all of Georgia's accredited technical colleges, which we are, West Georgia Technical College is, they have to transfer 10 core classes to all of the 35 degree granting institutions. Right. And that is huge. That means University of Georgia, if you make a C or higher in your English composition class, it'll transfer. Georgia Tech, Southern Poly, any of the schools. And so that is a huge, huge thing, because a student could come to West Georgia Technical College and take 10 core classes. And those 10 core classes then would all transfer, and certainly at a much lower rate.
Right.
And also the good thing is a lot of our students, most of our students will be eligible for the HOPE grant, and the HOPE grant will pay for those learning support classes that we talked about. HOPE scholarship is what you use at a four-year institution. Those learning support classes will no longer be paid for by HOPE. And so that
is the four-year school.
At the four-year school. At a technical college, they will be. And that's a huge thing, because a lot of times people come in and algebra, maybe they need a little help in algebra. If you come to West Georgia Tech, you can get that math learning support class that you need, then go on into your college algebra class, and those will transfer. I wrote down just a few of those classes that will transfer, so if you're sitting out there listening at home, there's 3 math classes that'll transfer. It's going to be your college algebra, a pre-calculus, and another math class that they'll look at. English composition and rhetoric 1 and 2, that's that old English 101 and 102, those classes will transfer. American literature, psychology, economics, sociology, and public speaking. And I'll add to that, if you go to, say, Columbus State University's website or the University of West Georgia's website, they have additional classes that'll transfer way outside these. So those are 10 that have to transfer to any of the schools in Georgia, but you go and look, the music class will transfer, the art class will transfer, political science class will transfer. So you need to look at that. You can get a lot more classes than just the 10. We have students who come from Auburn, take classes as transient, so we've come a long way in a short time.
Okay. Let's quickly talk about cost, because anytime moms and dads who might be watching who have kids who are about to go to college, if you've got kids who are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and you're trying to figure out an educational plan, the technical college system in Georgia should really get a second look because of the amount of money that we can save the family. And with these articulation agreements, they can come, as you've already said, take a lot of that general core, and all of that is going to transfer to that four-year institution at a much reduced tuition. Tell us a little bit about some comparisons in tuition cost here.
Well, I pulled a couple of comparisons just for schools that are local to us, that people may drive back and forth. Great schools, and they work very well with us. But just from a money standpoint, a 3-hour class at West Georgia Tech, so maybe you come and you take your English composition class. So that's a 3-semester-hour class. With tuition and fees, it's $421.
Okay, $421 at West Georgia Tech.
A 3-hour class, that same English class at Columbus State with tuition and fees is a little over $1,300.
Almost 3 times as much if my basic math is okay.
And then at the University of West Georgia, a 3-hour English class for tuition and fees is a little over $1,000. So still a very good deal for us. I mean, it just makes good money sense.
Oh yeah, hands down. We like to say that we're one of the best kept secrets in education, and several reasons why. One is the cost, absolutely phenomenal cost to the family and the student. But also, it needs to be reiterated one more time, is that our faculty and staff, faculty is accredited by the same folks LaGrange College are accredited by the same folks University of Georgia faculty is accredited by, and I could go on and on. So phenomenal faculty, great staff that is very customer friendly, customer focused, and then lastly that tuition piece to save the families money is just really we think a good deal that everybody needs to take another look at. Tell us real quickly about the Technical Communication Certificate, and that kind of ties into this same kind of concept here we've been talking about this afternoon.
We have a program called Technical Communications, and actually in the fall semester they're changing the name to Technical. It's called Technical Communications now. It will be called Technical Specialists. Okay. So getting a little bit of the name changes for us. But that allows students to receive the HOPE grant. I know at another time you'll have someone to come in and talk about financial aid, but in a nutshell, the HOPE grant you can use for certificate programs. This is a certificate that has degree level classes, your English class, your math class, those kind of things. And if you're a Georgia resident and not default on student loans and no felony drug convictions in the last 6 months, then you can apply for the HOPE grant. And then HOPE grant will pay tuition and it used to pay for fees, but not so much anymore. Right. But it'll pay for the tuition, which is still a tremendous amount of classes that you can get paid for with that. So English, math, that kind of thing. So if you're not real sure what you're interested in doing, that technical specialist is a good way to start, to get the core classes out of the way and apply for the HOPE grant. And also you can apply for federal financial aid, which will help you with your fees and your books.
Okay, we're kind of running out of time here, but tell us about the different types of awards we have at West Georgia Tech.
We have certificates, which tend to be your less than a year programs like truck driving, nurse's aid. We have diplomas, which are about a year and a half or so, and those are going to be classes such as your business office technology, your air conditioning, your automotive, welding. And we also have Associate of Applied Science degree, which typically are your 2-year programs, depending on how you take your classes. And those are going to be like your fire science, early childhood care and education, criminal justice programs. And I know we're almost running out of time, but can I talk a little bit about fall semester?
Absolutely.
So I want to get that plug in.
We're going from going from quarters to semesters, a big, big deal. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, summer quarter begins tomorrow, and it's the last quarter ever. So we've all got to change ours, like it's the semester. And what I wanted to let everyone know is that fall semester will start August the 23rd, and that's a huge difference because in the years past, we've not started our fall quarter until the end of September, the 1st of October. So we want to get the word out to everyone that if they're interested in the fall semester, they need to come now. Because in times past, people will wait until September. Well, if you wait until September, then you have to wait for spring semester. So if you have your friends, family members, let them know that now is the time for them to come out and apply for financial aid, as well as admissions for fall semester, and that priority deadline is July 13th. That doesn't mean if you don't get everything in by July 13th, you can't start. That is just to give you enough time to ensure that when we start registration July 18th through August the 4th, that your information will be there.
Okay. Well, we're just about out of time. I want to thank Lori for taking a few minutes to talk to us this morning about the admissions process and how easy it is to get into West Georgia Tech. If you want to get in touch with Lori, you can call her via telephone, 706-845-4323, or you can always get us 24/7 via the World Wide Web. That address is www.westgatech.edu. So that's www.westgatech.edu. Want to remind you again that a great thing for you to always remember if you're watching this broadcast is to earn more, you have to learn more. And we want to encourage you to come to West Georgia Technical College and talk to us. Let us tell you a little bit more in detail about all the good stuff we have to offer. And let us help you change your life for the better. Thanks for watching Technically Speaking.
You've got that ideal career in mind. Well, West Georgia Technical College specializes in preparing you for great careers. Call today and find out how we can help you fit education into your busy lifestyle. Semesters are here. West Georgia Technical College is enrolling for its first ever fall semester. There's never been a better time to get started. Choose from over 110 great programs. West Georgia Technical College is inspired by students.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.